And so I'm pleased today to announce that Canada and China have reached a preliminary but landmark trade agreement to remove trade barriers and reduce tariffs.
100% tariffs. Listen to that number again, 100%. America has threatened Canada that if you complete this deal with China, we will impose double taxes on every single one of your products. This isn't just a trade dispute, folks. This is a geopolitical earthquake happening between North America and Asia.
We don't need cars made in Canada. We don't need cars made in Mexico. We want to make them here. And that's what's happening. Everybody's moving here. From Canada, they're coming here.
In today's video, we'll understand what deal Canada has made with China, why America is so furious, and how this three-way battle could impact you. So let's dive right in. The story begins in Beijing, where this month Canadian Prime Minister Mark Carney went on a historic visit. This wasn't just a routine diplomatic trip, folks. Carney was on a mission with a clear strategy. That strategy was to distance himself from America's unpredictable policies and find new trading partners for his country. And what better partner than China, the world's second-largest economy that's always looking for new markets. After meetings held in Beijing, a preliminary trade deal was announced. This deal has three main points that are crucial to understand. First, China agreed to reduce its import tariffs on Canadian canola. Canola is one of Canada's biggest agricultural exports, worth billions of dollars annually. Canadian farmers have been struggling because China had previously imposed heavy restrictions on their canola, so this tariff reduction is massive news for them.
By March the 1st, Canada expects that China will lower tariffs on Canadian canola seed to a combined rate of approximately 15%.
Second, China will grant visa-free travel access to Canadian citizens.
Very pleased to share that President Xi, in our meeting today, has committed to ensuring visa-free access for Canadians traveling to China.
This means Canadians can now visit China for tourism or business without the hassle of lengthy visa applications. This opens up enormous opportunities for people-to-people exchanges, tourism revenue, and business connections. Third, and perhaps most important, this deal establishes what both countries are calling a new type of strategic partnership.
Canada and China have reached a preliminary but landmark trade agreement to remove trade barriers and reduce tariffs.
This isn't just about buying and selling goods. This is about creating a long-term political and economic alliance that could reshape global trade dynamics. Now here's where things get explosive. Over the weekend, the United States, which has been Canada's closest ally and neighbor for generations, issued a shocking threat. President Donald Trump took to social media and wrote that negotiations between Ottawa and Beijing amount to China successfully and completely taking over the once great country of Canada. Those were his exact words, taking over the once great country of Canada. This is incredibly strong language for one ally to use about another. But Trump didn't stop there. His administration announced that if this Canada-China deal goes ahead, the United States will impose 100% tariffs on Canadian products. Let that sink in for a moment. 100% means if a Canadian product costs $10, American importers would have to pay $20 total. This would effectively kill Canadian exports to America overnight. U.S. Treasury Secretary Scott Bessent explained the reasoning behind this threat in interviews with American media. He said, "We cannot let Canada become an opening through which the Chinese pour their cheap goods into the United States. This reveals the America's real fear. They're worried that China will use Canada as a backdoor entry point into the American market. The concern is that Chinese companies could set up operations in Canada.
We will get some kind of a deferral on the rare earth export controls that the Chinese had discussed.
Manufacture products there or just relabel Chinese-made goods and then export them to America under favorable U.S.-Canada trade agreements like the USMCA. This would allow China to bypass all the tariffs and restrictions that America has carefully built up against Chinese imports. Now let's talk about China's response, because this is where diplomatic language becomes really interesting. On Monday, China's foreign ministry spokesman Guo Jiakun held a press conference and addressed this controversy directly. He said that China and Canada have established a new type of strategic partnership, and it does not target any third party.
中加构建新型战略伙伴关系，就妥善解决中加之间的经贸问题做出一些具体安排，体现了平等相待、开放包容、和平合作、共享共赢的精神，不针对任何第三方，符合两国人民共同利益。
Notice the careful wording here, does not target any third party. He didn't say America by name, but everyone knows exactly which third party he's referring to. Guo continued by saying that China advocates that nations should approach state-to-state relations with a win-win rather than zero-sum mindset, and through cooperation rather than confrontation. This is classic diplomatic speak. What China is essentially saying is that their deal with Canada is about mutual benefit, not about hurting America, and that America shouldn't view every new relationship as a threat to themselves.